we could probably mention that this was Itachi's idea if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then we could even read his top five strongest cards of all time since he
I like it.
posted that.
I have a little bit of overlap with his too.
Some of them I'm like, what? Itachi. Some of them I see, but a couple I'm like, that feels like a stretch.
Well, I have one overlap actually. Just one.
Only just one?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Is it the first one?
It's the third one.
Okay, that's fair. My overlap would be the first one.
Ah, nice.
Okay. I think everything is up.
Yep. Looks good. I see us live on Twitch
Okay.
and YouTube.
And
Perfect.
perfect. Okay, yay. All right. It's also kind of helpful having a little bit of time here at the beginning for when when I go to edit, because then I let the muted video play for the like 30 seconds while the intro music is going. So
Ah, perfect.
yeah. All right. Oh, let me get my little thing so I can mute in between. And hey, Tina, it's not first. All right. Okay, are we ready?
Ready?
All right. Welcome to episode 21 of the TCCG Roundtable. We're your hosts, dragonrider and RonMexico. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Happy to be here. Excited about our roundtable topic this week. We'll get to later, but we got a fun one today. Just building that hype for the expansion coming out.
That's right. That's right. And I've got, I think we have a couple of like upkeep. I don't know if that's now I'm just like using magic terms. Like a couple of things that I would like us to talk about before we dive into like any news and that kind of stuff. I first wanted to ask you, last week we did our Soulforge Fusion starter kits and opened those up. I just wanted to ask, did you get a chance to like look at those anymore? A chance to play? I know you had mentioned, trying to get your other half to play with you, but I know she's got a lot going on. So, did she get a chance to do any more with it?
Sadly, no more than just looking longingly at some of the cards. Michelle has been really busy with nursing school lately, so she was swamped. She had to go to a clinical today that I stayed up way too late to help her with. So we have it on the back burner. I'm very much looking forward to playing some Soulforge Fusion, but as of right now, real life priority things come first. She's got to help people recover from injuries and not die and the like, and then we'll play some Soul Force Fusion.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, I did try a bit of it and I enjoyed it a lot. I was really happy with how it played out. It's the Forge kind of acts like the attack token in Legends of Runeterra for anybody that's played that. So it kind of like alternates. The odd thing was like there's no mana or like resource, which feels a little weird for a card game. I was like, okay, so if there's no like mana, there's no resource to use, like how do we play our cards? But basically, it's just each player has like the first player plays a card, then the second player has a chance to play another card, or has a chance to play their first card that turn. And then you just do that until each person plays two cards, and then you go through the attack phase. And then you
Nice.
actually put your hand into your discard, draw five new cards. So there's also kind of a strategy to it where you can only play two of the five cards you draw every turn before they go into the discard, and you'll end up like reshuffling your deck. So it's also kind of different in a way where it's not reliant on like hitting fatigue, or if you can't draw cards out of your deck, that you're, lose the game like some other card games. It has some different kind of synergies. And I really feel like I talked about this when we looked at the like little card that has the keywords on it. It really felt like a mix of card games and a board game to me. And I was like, this is like super sweet. So I was very, very excited. And then also they retweeted, the Soulforge Fusion Twitter account retweeted our posts about doing that. So thank you to them. That was super cool, promoting
Yeah, that's
that. So
awesome. That's a really cool, like, different way to play. I love that there's always some nuances in like any different card game, and that sounds like a really cool niche that they have.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty sweet. So I'm excited to do more with it. And again, looking at going to TCG Con Denver next month in May. That'll be like May 20th and 21st. I'm going to be competing in the tournament there for that, so pretty excited for that. And I know I was showing you before the stream too, like Battle Spirit Saga kind of put out some competitive stuff, and I'm looking at the like poor sad Hearthstone esports
Yeah.
stuff, and then I'm looking at all these other things like whoa, like kind of that meme of like where the one woman's like glaring at the at the guy, and he's like looking over his shoulder. Like that's how I feel with these
Yeah.
competitive in another
Yeah.
card game. Ooh, ooh.
Reminds me of the Squidward meme, like in SpongeBob, where he's up in like this room and he's looking down on SpongeBob and Patrick, like running around, like hands up. Yeah. Eventually,
Yes,
maybe we'll have some
we'll see.
revived Hearthstone competitive stuff. Who knows?
Yes. Well, the other thing that I did want to mention, it's I guess kind of news, but it's more like us news, individual news, and not like card game specific news. But I did want to talk about it because we've talked about it here on this show. I just found out like 2 days ago now. I was accepted into the Hearthstone Creator Program. So, yay, I'm super, super excited. Kind of representing badass women of Hearthstone. I've been like a mod and kind of a leader and ambassador for the badass women community, trying to get tons of women recognized and get them into the Discord and create a whole group of women, and kind of help grow everyone's content that's doing content. So I'm very, very excited. And of course, with me, I told you this before we started too. I was like, so of course, as soon as I found that out, my mind just starts going already like, okay, maybe I can like plan this and I can do these things. And like, what else can I come up with? How
Yep.
can I do this? Like, I'm already like, you know, I feel like I'm only sleeping like 5 hours a night, but I'm still like, how can I pack my day with more things? Because I want to do so many things for, the women in the community and the Hearthstone community as a whole as well. So I'm like already coming up with plans and ideas of like what things I can do to, provide more for other people and help like lift them up, and what I could do with that.
Yeah, and
And
who needs sleep anyway?
yeah, who needs sleep? What is that? No, yeah, we're gamers. Nobody needs sleep. Psh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's overrated.
but
We'll feel better
honestly,
with sleep, but
huge congratulations. Like that's such amazing news. I can't think of anyone I know that works harder in the Hearthstone scene. I think it's super well earned, and I'm really excited to see what you do with it.
well, thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful, and like even if I do feel like I earned it, I'm just gonna keep doing things to be like, this is why I earned it. Gotta keep proving myself because that's just what I do. So, gonna continue that. But yes, so there is some exciting, things on the horizon. And of course, with that, that does mean that I will at least be able to have access to things like giveaway codes and things like that. So, people who are interested in Hearthstone definitely would love to have you hanging out for the content and checking out giveaways and stuff, at least every expansion, which is, a couple, 3 times a year, maybe in between for mini sets and stuff too. But keep everybody updated on that.
You love to
Um,
see it.
yeah. Now, Was there anything else that we wanted to cover before we jump into news?
Not really off the top of my head. My whole I don't know, like everything that I've been doing lately is just like marking down days for April 11th.
Yes.
I just want a new
Yeah.
Hearthstone expansion. That's all. So I don't have a whole lot else on my mind, but
Yeah.
uh, probably time for news.
Well, all right, let's jump into news. The first thing in our news is the Hearthstone Festival of Legends set is launching on April 11th. So, yes, that is this coming Tuesday as of our recording here. Very, very exciting. Again, these only happen 3 times a year. So, these big, huge sets. And this first one, there's also the standard rotation happening and changes to the core set. So, this first one of the year is always like really huge because there's a lot of changes, uh, you know, that are going on, not just the expansion. It's like the expansion plus rotation plus this other stuff. So
Oh yeah.
it really is like a big holiday for a lot of players. All right. Oh yeah, pre-opening. True. They also are doing like pre-release stuff, so you can open your bundle packs if you get any of the bundles. Are you going to be doing a like pre-opening for any of your packs, Ron?
Maybe. I'm not sure if we're still doing the same thing that I usually do around expansion time. A lot of times we'll make a drinking game out of it for pack openings, but uh, there have been less players participating now this time around, and I think it's kind of connected to like the competitive announcement and things taking a little bit of a backseat. We'll see. There might still be some participants. Otherwise, I'll just open the packs at the normal time because I didn't used to open them early.
Gotcha, gotcha. I've like gone back and forth. At one point, I was opening them early and like making a fun stream and stuff out of it. Um, Plus, then it's like, okay, now I don't have to wait for like the first day and
Yeah.
then spend that much time like opening packs. I could just, I'm that much closer to being able to just start playing. But I think the last couple, it's just been like, well, there's not really anything that I feel like is super, I guess, like a bonus or terribly exciting in addition to just being able to open the packs. Unfortunately, with the fireside stuff. So if I don't really get to like do some wacky like fireside event thing where I get to like play some of the new cards, I'm just like, I'll wait till the first day and then open all my
Understandable.
packs. Uh, Plus, I have to buy a bunch with gold and stuff anyways that I'm going to open, so it's fine. Um, all right, then jumping into more news. We still have that Marvel Snap variant rush going on that started March 22nd. It's going through April 4th. And with every collector's reserve you open, you have a chance for special and unique steampunk variants or titles. So that's super cool. Also, the new season for Marvel Snap just started up as well. So lots going on. I'm sure we'll have. Usually, it seems like kind of mid season is when they're dropping the patches. I've noticed that seems to be kind of their pattern. So I'm sure in another like week or two, we'll probably have another Marvel Snap like patch notes and things to talk about with what they might be changing there.
Yep, a
Uh,
lot of conversation about nerfing Shuri, but no news about nerfing her anytime soon. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I, I feel like I'm seeing the patterns of like when these companies, when these games are like putting things out, when I've been putting these show notes together. And there really is kind of that like I I almost hate using the term ebb and flow because I feel like it's like so overused, but like that's what it is, right? It's like you can kind of spot the pattern if they're consistent. Like Hearthstone is becoming incredibly consistent with
Yeah.
theirs, which as a content creator, I am thrilled about because it makes it so much easier to like plan what content I'm doing and when. uh, so but I think some of the other games are starting to kind of follow in those same patterns too, including another one that we're going to talk about kind of with the organized play. Um,
Yeah.
but Any other thoughts on Marvel Snap?
Just I keep doing my dailies on Marvel Snaps, so I got I think up to like collection level 3500 or something. It's crazy how just daily play can really help you have a quasi decent collection and be competitive if you want to be. Like you, it's still a game you can free to play. It's just you have to be super patient. But I know a lot of talk has happened around their collection acquisition, and it's not ideal, but there are still angles that you can take.
Yeah, honestly, for me, that's what's kind of made me not really play Marvel Snap anymore. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, I feel like for the first like month that I was playing, I feel like I was playing a lot. Like I was dumping
Yep.
so much time into it. And then I'm like, yeah, look at this. I'm collection level like 400. And I still don't even have all the like cards that my opponents are playing against me,
Yep.
and I have no other way to get them to even try these. And no, okay, well, and then I'm just like big sad, and I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, ladder didn't feel like a thing. Like ranked, I just felt like I was banging my head against the wall, and I'm like, this is frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I'd really want to see them change is acquisition for collections. So I know they've gotten feedback about that. Hopefully, that is something that changes in the future. But for now,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a big downside. If you can get over that hump, it's still a very fun game. But I
yeah, yeah,
totally understand the challenges.
yeah. And it's, as we talk about all of these card games, right? There's also things where maybe that's not super appealing to me, even if I am a more free to play player, just the way that that is built, not appealing to me. But
Yeah.
that's holding me back from playing the game in general. Some people are like, the game itself is super fun. Yeah, I might be frustrated with the collection, but I can't stop playing because I enjoy the gameplay. And that's one thing like I love about all these card games is that they have some similarities, they have some differences, but there's going to be something that is appealing to somebody in all of these card games. So, it's maybe not something that is appealing enough for me to continue playing, but for other people, it's not really a drawback.
Yeah, very true.
All right. And then we did have the Scarlet and Violet expansion released for the Pokemon TCG, which was pretty sweet. And there also is, and I'm drawing a blank. I didn't actually type it in, and now I'm drawing a blank. For Magic Machine. Oh my gosh, that's not good. I apologize. I definitely should be way more on top of it right now. There is a new set coming for Magic. Uh Let me get it because I feel terrible. March of the Machines. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Our live chat, wonderful, always so helpful. Yes, March of the Machines. That's it. That is coming out very soon. So I've been seeing quite a bit on that, and they have an early access thing going on for that, which will be taking place on their like Twitch and YouTube. Kind of like we got to see with Hearthstone with like Theorycraft streamers, getting on and doing that. Very similar thing. They're doing an early access event, and that is going to be taking place April 13th and 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific on that MTGA channels. So that's pretty sweet. Always like seeing that. I can't believe how much content Magic puts out. Like,
Oh yeah,
but
it's wild.
it's yeah, always going. Um, so that is going on, and then I think we've talked a lot about the sets that are coming out, but this month, and we're going to keep bringing it up because it's coming out at the end of the month, an entirely new card game, complete new game coming out April 28th. That is Battle Spirit Saga. We've been talking about them for a while. They have had some like pre-launch event tournaments. They've been doing a lot of promotion for the game and all sorts of stuff, but that will be officially launching and like made public at the end of April here. So I know a lot of people are getting really hyped up and excited for that. You know, it's pretty appealing, and especially when they announce things like $1 million for their competitive scenes and stuff, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, that gets very exciting.
Yeah, new games are always fun to celebrate, and this one, they are going hard on the marketing. It's kind of exciting to see. Looking forward to the launch.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I am very excited. And then, of course, the Eternal little 24 card set called Eternal the Devouring did just release this week as well on April 5th. So that came out. And then we had the Glory in Navori expansion and entire like rotation, creating two different formats for Legends of Runeterra that just kind of kicked off at the end of March as well. So lots of stuff been going on. I think as we get through like this first part of April, we're probably going to start to see a little bit of like that dip again in some of the news, and then it'll kind of ramp back up. Like, right, we're going to have the, I just, what other phrase is better than ebb and flow? Valley and peaks. I don't know. We're gonna continue to have those, but definitely want to mention that just because that's super fun. Oh, I will say one other thing that I did kind of want to promote that is relating to all these games is this entire month in April for my live stream on Twitch. I am doing what I am calling uh, April Cardapalooza. Cardapalooza. And essentially, every sub that I get on Twitch, I have a card game wheel that has 6 different card games on it. So every sub, I have to spin this wheel and change to that card game. And then for any donations of $1 or more, whoever donated will get to pick if I change my deck or if I play a different mode in whatever game. And I had a sub yesterday and I had to play Legends of Runeterra, which, you know, I love all the card games, right? I'm like, okay, this is great. And I took my little like budget aggro deck into this now standard format because that just, you know,
Mhm.
started. They don't have ranked for the Eternal or like, you know, the set that has all of the cards. So I'm like, well, okay, I don't have decks that really are qualifying for this now standard format. So basically, it's like a budget aggro deck that I just threw together, and
Nice.
I'm climbing with it. I mean, I climbed
Hey,
through like iron, and now I'm into bronze. But like, hey,
let's
like
go.
it's winning. I won like 4 or 5 of my 5 or 6 games. I think I lost like one game. I was like, I don't know how my like makeshift thrown together deck is winning, but here we are. I love it. So that was exciting. Um, so I haven't played enough to really gauge like how the standard versus eternal format for LOR is yet myself. But I'm enjoying it so far. You know, also winning helps that. Winning is great.
Definitely. Yeah. Follow Don on Twitter for more Legends of Runeterra deck lists to crush the meta.
Yeah, I would not recommend copying my deck list, but if you know if people really want it, I will share it. But yes, so that is our news this week. But Ron, what do we have going on for the competitive and organized play?
All right. Well, with competitive and organized play, starting with Battle Spirits Saga, they have posted an event schedule for 2023. We talked about this a little bit beforehand too. Just a tiny bit of Hearthstone jealousy looking at their competitive. They are showing 4 sets to come over the next 12 months, but also a tournament flow chart with many tournaments that lead into bigger tournaments and ultimately a world championship. You, of course, are going to be able to find the link to that schedule in our notes and description. Um, it it looks pretty. I'm excited. That looks really cool. So good on Battle Spirit Saga. That's going to be exciting to see how it develops in the months to come.
Yeah,
Um,
I was really
looks
intrigued
great.
too because they just posted it today.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh yes, like let's talk about that. But not only, you know, I was expecting it to be like a little chart or something that shows the tournaments, but it also shows that they are planning the full like four sets every year, right? Like basically. So not only did it show that, but the other thing with showing the basically like launch of the sets along with the several like pro tours that they're gonna have, I noticed that several of those line up to be in the same month. And I am very interested to see if they do the like set right before the pro tour,
Oh yeah.
or like 2 weeks before, or if they're going to launch the new set like right after the pro tour, because that's also a good thing to do for like promotional sake, right? Where if you have these big broadcasts, people are like, oh cool, a big tournament, you're going to be drawing in an audience, and then you can be promoting or showing off new cards and saying, hey, like here's a sneak peek at these new cards that are coming next week or in 2 weeks after this pro tour. So I'm really interested to see like how they're going to navigate the sets coming out the same month as they have the big pro tours.
Yeah, that would be really cool if they do it in the way that you described. That I feel works the best to like continue the healthiness of a competitive scene. You can have it feed off of the hype for new things and have hype for new things get built off of the competitive scene. Like it should be the kind of virtuous circle that helps rather than, oh,
Yeah.
here come the new cards that we're going to change everything you know about the game just
Yeah.
before the big competition. Good luck.
Uh
I
yeah,
can
I
create
think
some
us
excitement, but it's a
like
little dicey.
yeah, I think especially with the physical card games, because then people also have to make sure that they can acquire the cards and that kind of stuff. And in those physical cards, you also have a lot of um like singles being sold. You kind of have that like marketplace where a lot of the digital cards don't have that, right? You can just you might buy your cards and you can do like disenchant or whatever a lot of those have to create cards. But for physical games, like you have to make sure that you can find the physical product, or people that you can get those cards from, right? To like borrow those cards for the event. So if it's not coming out like, or if it is coming out before the big tournament, I hope they give the players like at least 2 weeks, I would say, like maybe more, like maybe the set launches at the beginning of the month and then the event's at the end of the month or something. But
Three
I would,
days, best I
oh,
can offer.
oh no, no, that would be torture. Even if I wasn't
I know,
playing,
right?
like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. So yeah, that's something that like I'm always kind of thinking about when I see those like a chart and that and showing like, okay, here's the sets that are coming out, and actually for our um, let me see if I can pull it up actually for our viewers, so they can kind of get an understanding of what we're talking about here.
Oh yeah,
But
they did a good job. Like that's really fleshed out and exciting for anyone who's going to be interested in playing some Battle Spirit Saga.
yeah, but it does look really cool. All right, so here is the chart here. So you can see across the top it has the products. So you can see like the Battle Spirit Saga 01, Battle Spirit Saga 02, and it's spaced out. It's like April, then July, then October. Then they have BSS 04 that's kind of like overlapping January, February. So maybe they haven't decided, or it's going to come out like right at the end. Um, and then they show also January is the World Championship. So then below that is kind of all of these like store level tournaments or like grand opens, they're calling them. Grand opens, it looks like they have in North America, Europe, OC, and LATAM. And then those feed into the Pro Tours, and then the Pro Tours feed into the World Championship. So I'm sure we'll continue getting even more information on that, but it's really cool just to actually like get this physical, look at kind of what the tournaments and the schedule, like all of the what feeds into what, and it's just pretty clearly laid out.
Oh yeah, looks fantastic. So a lot of things to look forward to in Battle Spirits Saga for sure. For the rest of the competitive scene that we'll be talking about for this week, we have some Information again, going back to Legends of Runeterra, like you were talking about before, the competitive season with the first set of the year, Glory in Navori. It has begun, started just a little over a week ago, and that's going to be building up to quite a few exciting things. And even if you may not have the standard list yet, Don, I have faith you'll crack the meta in some way for Legends of Runeterra once you build up the cards for standard, right? I'm waiting for it.
That's right. No, nobody will expect the randomly thrown together deck. That's break the meta. Here we go.
It could happen. You never know. And then beyond Legends of Runeterra, we also have news for Flesh and Blood April events coming up. Battle Hardened Richmond is going to be going down April 15th through the 16th, plus the first of two Pro Tour events is happening with Pro Tour Baltimore, a big event from April 27th through the 30th.
Yeah, that's this month. I still am like, oh, we're in April already.
Yeah.
uh, that's happening. I just can't believe like all these big tournaments, but it's super cool to see those really big events. There's going to be like lots of side events, lots of things like opens and stuff also happening, because the Pro Tour itself is people that have qualified for that. But if you go, there's also going to be opens and stuff that you can play in, and so like it's a major thing, and it sounds super cool. I really wish that I could be going to some of these, but maybe next year I can be looking more into that. But yeah, it's quickly approaching. I feel like we were kind of talking about some of that stuff like 2 months ago, and it felt like so far away, and now it's like that's in a couple of weeks now.
Yeah. It's right around the corner. We're hitting that busy season. There's going to be more and more to come, and this is the time of year where just a whole bunch of games start just rapid fire launching more and more content. Like for instance, 4 Days Hearthstone expansion. I can't wait. Looking forward mainly to that, but there's a whole lot of other things depending on what strikes your fancy to get into.
Yeah, and a lot of uh, digital and or physical cards too, which is
Yeah.
great. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. Well, thank you for covering that, Ron. Are we ready to dive into the main topic?
Oh yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right.
I got my list ready.
Do okay. Do you want to give everyone like a little bit of rundown and like background on our topic and how it came about?
Absolutely. So we were thinking about what to do for a topic this week, and Atachi came up with the fantastic idea to compare some top lists. Primarily, of course, we're focusing on Hearthstone with the expansion right around the corner. Just to look back at the 9 years of Hearthstone that we've played so far, and what some of our top things may have been. So, going down the list, we're going to be talking about top 5 battlegrounds, minions or heroes, top 5 standard cards, and by standard cards, just cards how they were in their time in standard, not like what currently are our top 5 cards in right now standard. Top 5 hero portraits, very excited for this one. And then top 5 decks of all time. So we'll break down all of those. One final thing, not a top 5 list, but our top 2 games outside of Hearthstone we're also going to be talking about. So a lot of things to go over, and it, I feel like Itachi's always so good with different little quick trigger. Hey, what about this idea? And I'm very excited that he brought this to us.
Yes, that's right. Our previous host before Ron graciously decided he would put up with me every week on this show. So yeah, that was cool to see him jump in. Can I read off his? He did submit his top 5 strongest cards of all time. Can I just read these?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right, so Itachi's top 5 strongest cards of all time. Number 5, Dark Glare. Okay, all right.
Yep,
4,
reasonable.
Plague of Flames.
All right.
What? Okay. Hmm.
I don't know
All
about
right.
that one.
Number 3, he has Leroy Jenkins, the 4 mana Leroy Jenkins, of course. That, yeah, yeah,
Super broken. Yeah.
yeah.
4 mana
Uh,
Leroy kind of busted.
yeah. How much is it now? Is it only 5 or did it go up to 6?
5.
Okay, because I think it would. I was like, did it go up to 6? Like it was so broken at 4. Um, but then they've just printed other things that are probably still even better. Like Mr. Smite. Okay. Oh, it did used to be 6. Somebody in chat is saying it used to be 6. But he's number 2, Patches. Pro- Probably like pre. Didn't they nerf Patches? Like pre-nerf.
This would be a pre-nerf patches where,
Yeah.
he had
Okay.
charge to get the
Yeah.
extra damage. Just the deck thing effect was so huge. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then his number 1 top 5 strongest cards of all time, Corridor Creeper.
Oh man. There we go. Corridor
Since I
Creeper
was a
was
sleeper.
kind of insane as essentially like always a 0 mana 5/5 that you'd slam down early in the game.
Dude, yeah,
I don't know if
that was super broken.
I don't think I'd put that as like top card ever, but that's why we got the different lists.
Exactly, exactly. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to read that off because it's like I love Itachi's always got some spicy take. I love it.
True. All right. So, are we gonna mix up the order at all, or just take it from the top with BG's on down?
Um, we could alternate. That's
Okay.
fine.
So, in that case, let's just dive into our top 5 cards since we got to see Itachi. So, while it's fresh in our minds, let's do the comparison. You want to lead off?
All right. Yeah. So are we working backwards like 5 and then
Yeah,
leading to
five
1?
through
Okay.
one.
So standard cards, just in their history. Um, my number 5, okay, is I am going to say Mr. Smite before the nerf.
Ooh. Okay. Spicy.
What
Spicy pick.
what's your number 5?
My number 5, I went with Lotheb. Lotheb, such an insane card. Uh, you know, I can see like arguments for either because Smite obviously enable like just a full burst crazy charge with all your pirates. Lotheb was the ultimate like I slam this down on turn 5, you have no turn that can do anything because I was winning on board, so you can't come back. You'd come back with a spell, but now you can't because it's too expensive. So GG.
Okay, that's so funny. I actually had Lotheb as my number 4.
Oh, nice.
Just yeah, because like again, looking at this as like when they kind of were prevalent in standard, like I think that Lotheb was just so impactful in its time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 4.
And well, I mean, he even gets played in Wild now.
Still,
Like
yeah.
that is a card that came
Hmm.
out in what 2015, 2023. Wild plays Lotheb. Seems like a good card. Um, for me, my number 4 is maybe slightly cheating. I put Gen and Baku because they're so like inextricably linked with each other. But if you forced me to pick one, I'd say Baku. Um, to stick with like the list, but yeah, just change the hero power, do crazy broken things at the start of every game, and be super consistent. Really, really good cards.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um okay, so my number 3 is gonna have to be this might get some some hate. My number 3 is gonna have to be the pre-nerfed Guff hero card.
Oh yeah.
Just because I do think that before the nerf, like that was just so powerful, and it was so, like used for so long, and it could fit into so many different decks. And it just enabled so many different things for Druid. I know that's still more like recent, but I gotta say that's number three for me.
I mean, even current version of Guff has a chance to make the list. It's does something that no other card ever can. Kind of insane. Now I feel like I should have had that on my list because I don't have Guff on my list, but pre-nerf Guff, yeah, feels like he belongs. For me, my number three, I just took the page right out of Itachi's book. I'm like, you know what? 4 mana Leroy was insane. Uh, the things you could do, especially with Rogue, with the 4 mana Leroy, Cold Blood and bouncing him and everything. That was a super powerful card. So that's my three.
All right. Okay, well, I guess it's time for my number two. Um, my no- I feel like I'm gonna get so much hate for these lists.
Here we
My
go.
number it's Shadow Step.
Okay.
Yep, Shadow
Yep.
Step is my number two, most powerful card or strongest card.
No argument. My number two, I went with Luna's Pocket Galaxy at 5 mana. Just
Oh yeah, the five
insane.
mana. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, game over. Play it on 5, game over. Every minion's gonna cost 1 from here on out. I'm pretty sure it was heavily featured in a, championship list or Master Tour winner list.
All right. Are we ready for our number ones?
Ready.
All right. My number one is also another rogue card, but it is the original, like before any nerfs, Caverns Below, the
Ah,
original
yes.
quest. Yeah, I think that one was just like so broken.
Super broken card. Um, that one definitely I think I could have put on my list too. I did not go with that, but that's because you already said my number one card, and it is Shadow Step. That's my number one.
It's
Shadow
great.
Step, I think, is the most broken card in the history of Hearthstone. It's been the best card since 2014, and it will remain that way until they finally, maybe take it out of core set and we see more varied play from rogues because that card is nonsense good.
Yeah, yeah. I think if I had to pick some like an honorable mention, some one of the because there was several, one of the like day one Demon Hunter cards that was super broken that had to get nerfed would probably be on there.
Yeah,
But since it got like released and then nerfed like right away, I didn't put it on my list. That's why it's an honorable mention for me.
fair. All
All right.
right, so there's top 5 standard cards. Where are we going next?
You want to kick off with your the battlegrounds, heroes
Okay.
and minions?
For battlegrounds, let me just go ahead and read off all 5 for what I picked because there's a theme, and I want to stick on theme. You'll get it immediately, I'm sure. Uh, Starting from number 5, Fungal Mancer Flurgle, the hero card. Think you might see where I'm going with this. Number 4, Primal Fin Lookout, the 3/2 Murloc that gets to discover another Murloc if you have a Murloc on the board. Number 3, Toxfin, give your Murlocs poisonous. Number 2, Nightmare Amalgam, the one slightly different thing because at least you can like have it be all tribes, but one of those tribes is Murlocs. And number 1 of all time for me for Battlegrounds, Megasaur. Adapt all your Murlocs. It's literally all I ever knew in playing Battlegrounds. And once they got rid of Megasaur, I actually just stopped playing Battlegrounds. So that's where my Battlegrounds knowledge starts and ends. All Murlocs.
That's amazing. Okay, yeah. You brought that up earlier and I wasn't quite sure what you meant by a theme, but now I get it. Now I get it. Yep.
Yep.
That is fantastic. All right. For mine, I am doing also a mix of minions and heroes. And part of it is also just going to be like my favorites, just because I think they were so powerful.
Solid.
So for my number five, I actually had the um oh gosh, now I just lost where I was. Uh, Eliza. There it is. Uh,
Oh yeah.
the
Okay.
Yeah, the pirate that when your other friendly pirates attack, give all your friendly minions a buff. Yeah, pretty powerful, I feel like.
That was sweet.
Um, my number four is Toxfin, because yeah,
Nice.
that's broken. My number three is actually Magmalock. I really freaking like Magmalock, and I love, especially in Battlegrounds, I love the dual type minions. So for me, I'm like, yes, like let me do. Plus, I love Menagerie, so that's allowed me. But that card has gotten changed like two to three times now.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
came out and then it got changed with its tier level and its stats, and then the stats got changed again
I don't
afterwards
honestly
because
I
it's
don't even
still
know
so
what
good.
Magma Lock does.
Oh my gosh, it's now a tier 5 1/1. It's an elemental and a murloc. But at the end of your turn, you gain +1/+1. Repeat for each minion you played this turn.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's
So
cool.
any type of like repetitive like APM builds, but you also, since it's an elemental and a murloc, you can do a whole bunch of, the murlocs can buff each other, so you
Right.
give it additional stats while you play it. If you play anything like any of the jugs or anything like that, this has a couple tags, so it's likely to get a buff. And then at the end of the turn, it gets buffs additionally for every minion you played. So there's so many
Nice.
different synergies with it. I love Magmalock.
I mean,
And then
honestly, you
my
had me at Murloc.
true, it is. He's like a fiery lava Murloc. He's just
It's awesome.
chilling. He's great. And then my top two are actually heroes. So my number two is going to be Dancing Daryl. I love Dancing Daryl, and I think that he's been
Nice.
incredibly powerful at some points. Um, and then my top hero. Now, this is also harkening back to the very start of Battlegrounds because she was super busted. Shout out to my girl AFK. You gotta love
Oh yeah.
AFK. Oh
Okay.
my
Yep.
god. Like
Those were fun
even still,
games.
I play a decent-ish amount of Battlegrounds, and AFK, I still have the most wins with from the very beginning because when I played like intensely the first like 6 months the Battlegrounds was out, any chance I saw AFK, I was like, I'm picking her. I'm picking her. Like I
Yep.
have the most wins still with her years later. Like I love
I
AFK.
mean, that was a lot of fun always. Like to sure you skip your first two turns, but then you get like the big random power spikes with the discovers. That was sweet.
Yeah. And like, the first two turns, people aren't doing much damage and stuff anyways, so it's like, who cares? Who cares?
Exactly. Nice. That's our top five BG minion and heroes list. So we've run through minions and heroes, the standard cards. Do we want to do decks of all time or hero portraits next?
Let's do decks of all time now.
Okay, sweet. And we can go back to the back and forth. I don't have any like consistent theme anymore here that I wanted to stick with just reading all five in a row. You want me to start or you want to start?
Go for it.
All right, so top five decks of all time, starting with number five. Gotta shout out to the OG. Why have they not nerfed this deck for so long? Undertaker Hunter, taking my number five spot.
Yeah, that's a really good one. My number five is going to actually be the Murloc Paladin with the anything can happen that would pull Murlocs out of your
Oh
deck
yeah.
and all that. Yeah. I mean, it's also got a special place in my heart because it's the deck that I hit Legend with for the first time and the
Nice.
second time. So, I was like, yeah, like it got me Legend and, Murlocs. But I think that had some pretty incredible power spikes.
I like it. We like Murlocs around here. It
It's
works. It's
true.
good. Um, Number 4 for me, I went with Overload Aggro Shaman. I think it was like maybe Karazhan or was the meta that it really like broke the things wide open and just became Shaman Stone basically for months. But your Trog on 1, Totem Golem on 2 type of beat 'em up curve was so insane for so long.
Well, I'm right there with you. That was also mine. That was also my number
Nice.
four. And
Hey.
also another deck that has a special place in my heart because, like, the, overlay or the elemental shaman and beating them with the weapon was also. I feel like that deck, too, it kind of was spread across like multiple metas, like with slight changes,
Yeah.
but I feel like it was kind of powerful for quite a while, like in multiple metas. But one variation of that deck, I also got to my highest personal best, which was Legend 66. So also
Nice.
super happy with that deck too. So, but it was really strong.
Fond memories. Or yeah, I mean
Yeah,
sometimes sometimes less than that.
it was fun for
Because
me. Maybe
losing
not
to
my
it
opponents.
is
Yeah.
frustrating. Yeah. Um, that's a good one. I feel like Shaman's one of those classes that more than most, it's either garbage or it's broken. Has been like kind of a thing for the majority of Hearthstone's history. A lot of the other classes they seem to be able to find more of a balance with, or they're just always broken, like Rogue. Um, but Shaman is a weird one where I'll have an example soon too. But on to number 3. Number 3, I have um, the Caverns Below Quest Rogue. I think it was Ungoro was when that one was like really dominating. It spanned like a
Yeah.
little bit longer than that though, because God, it got nerfed like 3 times or something.
Yep.
But that quest, that deck, super insane.
Yes, I agree. Well, we're gonna have a lot of crossover this one,
True.
because my number three is that Undertaker Hunter that you already listed. I think that
Ah,
was just
nice.
incredibly powerful, and I'll just skip ahead. I'm gonna cut in line here. My number two is the one that you just listed, the
Fair
the
enough.
Caverns Below. I mean, that was so strong for a while, like so strong that has to be on the list. And I have a couple honorable mentions for this one, like just that were my favorites, but not that I necessarily think were the best. But what's your number two? And I'll let you do your number one since I cut in line there.
No worries. Makes sense too. I almost mentioned on the last list Shadow Step being, oh, you have that at 2, I have that at 1, but yeah, occasionally we'll have some overlap. For me, my number 2 in top 5 decks of all time, I went with the pre-nerf on release Galakrond Shaman. I don't know if you remember right when that came out, but oh my god, it was insane. It was everywhere. It was unstoppable. Uh, and just another example of that being like, hey, Shaman's either mega broken or it's kind of bad most of the time. And that was the mega broken time.
I actually forgot about that. Yes.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was hoping I'd come up with at least
Well,
one thing that would be more
yeah.
surprising than expected.
Yeah, I forgot
Um,
about that one.
but now finally the number 1 might just be something you expect. Maybe it's your number 1 too. I went with Aggro Demon Hunter from Ashes of Outland, like day 1 Demon Hunter, when every single Demon Hunter card was Omega broken. You had like 3 mana Altruis and 5 mana Skull of Gul'dan and 0 mana Twin Slices, and your 4 mana or 5 mana guy, whatever he was like a 7/4 that dealt damage when you attacked with your hero. Like absolutely just breaking the game wide open. That's number 1 for me.
Yeah, that one was strong. It's actually we have very different ones here. My number one was actually the Doom in the Tomb Shaman, the like evolved shaman
Ooh,
from Doom in the
okay.
Tomb. Yeah, that deck was so busted during that time. And because it was like a what, it was like a month long like event, they didn't feel
Yeah,
like
they
they
just
wanted to
didn't
do
change
nerfs.
it.
So they're
Yeah,
just like,
so
we're
they
just gonna
just
leave it. And
let it
yeah,
terrorize for a month.
it was
Oh,
busted. That was so busted. So that's my number one. Okay. What while we're still talking about decks, I'd like to just cover like a couple of our favorite decks too. They weren't necessarily like the strongest, or maybe they were kind of strong. Like, what would you say are like maybe your top two or three like decks just from history, from Hearthstone's
um,
history?
right off the top of my head, it's my favorite deck of all time was um, Death Rattle Hunter that ran Deathstalker Rexar. Um,
Yes.
the package itself was really good. Usually didn't need the hero card, but the hero card was my favorite thing to do that has ever existed in Hearthstone. I love just making zombies. It was exceptional. I would usually lose more games than I should have lost because I'd be too addicted to pressing the Zombies button and making a Zombies rather than making like an actual better play. But it ran Cube, it ran eggs, that summoned big beasts and just a whole lot of power. Katharina like summoning giant beasties and hitting them in the face with it. You get Cube, your own
Yep.
King Crush that you summoned randomly, and then proc the cube and have, oh my god, it was amazing. Um,
That's
yeah,
one of mine too. That was what I one of the ones I was gonna list because for me
nice.
like that I that was what really started to make me love Hunter. I think like because I kind of liked Face Hunter, but that was like so fun, and I'm like, look at these big things, like these big plays that I get to do.
Yeah,
And the other one that I'm gonna list, I'll let you do your other one, but Cube, like that era of Hearthstone for me as well, with Cube and Standard, honestly taught me a lot of skills. Like I think Cube, the card, also taught me about tempo and like less ideal plays to make sure that you're still doing something.
yeah,
Because there would be a lot of times like before that where I think I would lose a lot of games and I was still learning about the game and like was still growing. And I would get really, really greedy with that stuff, right? Like, no, I can't play Cube until I have like the absolute like best thing. But as I played more of that, like I started to learn sometimes I just have to play Cube on something because the rest of my hand is really expensive or it's going to be, like I need to get something out on the board to contest the opponent's minions, or something. So for me, I'm like, that also kind of was a not only a fun deck, but something that started to teach me an important like fundamental of the game to get better.
love it. Love me some tempo cube as well. You got nothing on board, slam down a 5 mana 4/6, get him. It has no text, just beat him
Yeah.
up with a 4/6.
Yeah.
You're always a little bit sad to do that, but there were times when it was correct, and it always felt like kind of weird because of how powerful cube could be in other settings.
Yeah.
My other, I guess, top two like honorable mentions. I'm gonna have to go with the Quest Shaman, the Battle Cry Quest Shaman. That was so much fun. You got like so you had to play like a bunch of Battle Cry cards, and then it would change your hero power to be your Battle Cries cast twice on this turn. And you could do so many insane, broken, cool things with lackeys and other like summons and effects that I had a blast playing that deck. That was one of my favorite times in Hearthstone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I forget about some of those decks, but yeah, that one was pretty good. I think, I'm sure there's a theme. I wonder if anyone can figure out what it is here. My other deck is the Cube Warlock. Huh.
Yo,
um, which, you'd have the weapon. It didn't have attack, but the weapon you just have there equipped and it would just pull out demons for you and you would smack your opponent in the face with Doom Guards and then you'd cube a Doom Guard and get more Doom Guards and that was great. Yeah, so I guess two of my favorite like of all time that I didn't list because again
Yeah,
I listed that Murloc and the aggro shaman. Those also were like very good decks that like I loved a lot too. But yeah, Cube for me was just like I loved it.
absolutely. Good list. And now we've got our final top five. We'll have a top two as well for non-Hearthstone games, but for top five, last one, um, we have hero portraits. So, what's your what's your number five for hero portrait, Don?
Man, this is so tough. Can okay. I'm gonna say I don't have it. I'm gonna include a battlegrounds one here. Okay.
Nice.
Because they have the alternate skins too. The rest will be like standard. But my number five, and I'm so sad that I missed out on this, has to be the battlegrounds Yogg ramen. It's Yogg Saron, but he's a freaking bowl of ramen, and his eyes
Nice.
are eggs. It's
Nice.
just amazing. And I'm so sad that I missed out on getting that one. But that's an absolute like amazing hero portrait to me.
That is fantastic. I don't have any battlegrounds portraits in mine, but I gotta start off with a hunter one. This one was so cool. Still one that I use often, and it's the Sylvanas portrait, the main Sylvanas, not any of the variant ones, but the first Sylvanas one that they came out with. I thought was always really really cool.
Got if neither of us put any hunter portraits, I was gonna be like, something's wrong. We must be sick or something.
Yeah, victory for the
Yes.
Forsaken. There you go.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. My number four has to be the also a hunter one. It has to be the like holiday Rexar.
Nice.
he's just he's got like a Santa hat. He's got the little penguin. He's got a nipple piercing for some reason. Like he's just it's great. It's great.
That's awesome. That is a really good one. I love that skin. That was one that I didn't have, so I'm like, "Ah, I'm not gonna put one that I don't have on the list." But if I had it, I'd probably make my top five too. That one's fantastic. Um, my number four, I'm going with 1,000 win Jaina. That mage skin looks so cool. The fire. Um, yeah, you're with me.
That
Sweet.
yeah, that's my number three. Yep, I
Hey,
love
nice.
that one. Yes.
I'm actually there's so many good mage skins, and I cycle through like you set favorites, so you randomly get one when you play. But I actually almost had a hard time picking anything but that. I kind of just wanted that to always be like the only mage skin I use, but I'm like, no, I want some variety. But yeah, that one's incredible.
Yep, I'm right there with you. That one is my number three because that one is so cool. And I think too, like looking back when now it's hard if you just kind of come in right now and then you look at some of these. I think if I were looking at it from the perspective of like starting now and seeing all these, it might not be in the top for me. But also, it felt like that portrait was so different
Yeah.
when it came out too. Like it was so different than all of the other ones. Now they're getting much more varied and a lot of variety with all the skins. But like for me, that one just stood out so much because I was like, wow, like this is just it's so striking. It's so different than everything else. So yeah, that one stands out to me for sure.
And I mean, the novelty of getting the 1K too. If you were around when they first like announced and released all the 1K skins, it was definitely a really cool feeling to the whole thing when you got it. Um, for my number three, I'm going with a rogue skin, and it is the only rogue skin I use. I don't use any others but this one, and it's the Dao Chan Valera. Dao Chan. She's like got the fan and um it's the I don't know, just the art on it, like everything about how that skin looks just blows away all of the other rogue skins, like, by far to me. It looks so cool.
Yeah, that one is really good for sure. I like a lot of those. What were they for the like Chinese New Year? Like they had
Yeah, yeah,
several of them. Like all of those are pretty good.
yeah. I
Uh,
like a lot of them. That one just to me was like far and away the best one.
yeah. Um. All right. Well, for my number two, I am gonna have to go with the Lady Liadrin portraits. I love Hunter, I love Paladin, and kind of again, like going back to, like when this was coming out, I think the Lady Liadrin portrait was also the first of like the women portraits, especially for
Nice.
Paladin. So I was like, and I love Liadrin, and just her voice lines were so sick, and I'm like, this is great. Like I still use Lady Liadrin. I freaking love her.
We're talking like OG Liadrin, right? Because there's
Yeah,
multiple Liadrin
yeah,
skins, but
the
the first one,
the the
yeah,
first one, yeah.
nice.
Which I think also you earned by what getting to like level 20 or something in WoW.
Yeah,
So, there was also that. So that, I had already played WoW for a while, so it was like, okay, I just have to
like,
do
hey,
something I've
easy.
done
Yeah,
multiple times before and like I get this sweet portrait. Like, yeah, like let's go.
I like the
Uh
crossover cosmetic thing they do. They don't really do that
yeah.
much anymore, but that'd be cool to bring back.
Oh, okay. We need to add in one more category. We'll do like a top 3. We need to do card backs too.
Ooh, good
There's so many
idea.
card backs. Yes. Okay, but let's
All right,
finish that. So Lady Leadrin is my number 2. What do you have for your number 2 hero portrait?
my number two, I'm going with the I gotta go with my roots. And honestly, I love everything about this hero skin. Just the simplicity of it works perfectly. It is OG 500 win Rexar. I can't stop myself from using that portrait. It's amazing. Like the the shiny eyes that he's got, like the glowing eyes. That I mean, there's like a 1000 win portrait that I never use because I think the 500 win is so much better. Just huge fan. I know you're probably shocked that I picked a hunter skin for the like OG hunter skin as my number two, but there you go.
Oh yes, this is my surprised face. For our audio listeners, I just have a very straight face. It did not change. Very non-shocked. Um, what's also very surprising is that my number 1 is also a hunter portrait. We're all
Nice.
surprised. Woo! No, my number 1 has to be the Sylvanas, where she is kind of standing in like it's like purplish armor, and she is shooting her like golden bow. I love that portrait. Oh my gosh. Like the also I will say, even from like a kid, when I remember being in an art class in like elementary school, and you learn the like, or maybe it was middle school or something, you learn like the color wheel, and doing like opposite colors, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
create that and like basically like purple and orange are the like opposites on the color wheel. So they're very like striking when you have those together. And that hunter portrait, like it's not necessarily orange, it's like a goldeny orange, but it's still kind of the same thing. And I remember creating this like, I don't know, I think it was some sort of like flamingo artwork or something. And I used those same colors. And now, years and years and years later, we don't need to list how many years, but years later, um, the AFG colors for Emberfly Gaming that I started, we kind of have like a purple, yellow, orangish theme as well. Like I just love those colors. I think they're so striking and beautiful together. And that portrait, like it fits all of that. The voice lines are great, and like just her pose, and like she's just badass. And I love that portrait so much. It's so good.
It's an excellent choice. Absolutely a top tier. For me, my number one, I couldn't pick anything different but 1000 win Demon Hunter, the Illidan portrait, 1K win. It's just, oh my god, dude went super intense. It just looks so cool. It's my favorite skin in Hearthstone. Like, just hands down, I think it's the best 1K, and I love everything about it.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Also,
We're
the
we're all
only Demon Hunter skin I use.
yeah. I was gonna say I'm not surprised that you also had a demon hunter skin, like some hunter skins and then demon
Oh
hunter.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's it.
Staying on brand here.
I mean,
Uh,
I did the same thing. I picked like hunter and then a shaman or not shaman. Although there's some good shaman ones too.
yeah.
Um,
If it has
I
Hunter in the name, I'm a fan.
That's right. I will say there's like a special shout out to those several Murloc ones, like the Murloc Jaina.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
They're hilarious. You gotta love those. Okay, okay. Well, how about like you got like a top two or three card backs?
I was searching as you brought that up to try to find the ones that I liked the most, and one of them is a sentimental reason, one of them is a competitive reason, and one of them is just art that I love.
Ooh.
So
Okay, spit
um,
them off. Here we go.
let's see. For the sentimental reason, it's Exodar. Um, that was a card back earned in I think like September 2015. It's kind of cool. It's like pink and swirly. But that one was the first card back I ever earned because I started playing in September of 2015. So it's just like a sentimental thing. Like, hey, this is the. Let me try to find it here to get the exact description of it. Yeah, it's like pink and purple crystals on the card. Kind of old-fashioned looking now, but of course, it's because it came out 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And the next one that I'd call my favorite is uh, what's it called? Golden Skies. Golden Skies is a card back you get for participating in approved esports events. So I won this card back for playing in a Masters tour. I think it was like the first Masters tour I got. They awarded that card back for like a certain kind of uh participation in the right year. And it's like a gold background with this red circle in the center with the Hearthstone logo, and it's got like these flaring out golden flames. It looks pretty sweet. And then the last one for me is what I just like the most, completely because of art, and that one is called the Blue Portal. This one is so cool. Um, it is you get it from beating One Night in Karazhan in heroic mode, one of the like little adventures, and it's like this purple background with the really like animated cool purple Hearthstone logo in the center, and the like middle part of the card art is just this swirling like shiny blue portal. It looks so cool.
Oh my
Awesome art.
gosh. I don't even think that I have like I don't think I have a lot of those ones that you had to earn from playing the solo content because I just never like especially the ones that you had to get from playing the like heroic versions because I just never really like got into that. And also sometimes I'm not very patient and I was
Hmm.
like this is taking forever like I don't want to do this
Oh,
and
I'm not gonna lie.
you
I
know
I grinded that
yeah
specifically for the card back,
I
and
was like
for
nah
like
I don't need it that bad.
for like a lot of the heroics, I was like, okay, I don't even want to do this, but I want that card back. So that was the
Fair,
whole
fair.
reason.
Yeah. Uh Well, I will say two of my three are food related. I'm sure everyone is also
Nice.
very surprised at that. Imagine me and food. Yeah, it's like all I talk about. I feel like card games and food, like those are the things. That's what life is. Uh, but my third favorite has to be the oh, I forget what it's called. It's the Diablo themed one where you have like the cow scythes and then the center is basically like the health the health bubble, the health meter
Oh
from
yeah,
Diablo,
I know
and
what
it
you're
like
talking about.
drains and stuff. Oh, that card back to me is just so amazing. It's so unique. It has like such a good flavor to it and ties it to Diablo like so well. And I played a ton of Diablo 2, tons of Diablo 3, and I already played in the open beta weekend for Diablo 4. Super excited to play more of that when that comes out in June. So for me, I'm like that card back is just so cool, and I love the fact that the center is not like just the Hearthstone logo, that it's actually like the health well that like drains. So that's super cool to me. The number two, I think, has to be the I don't know what it is with this the ramen bowl card back.
Nice,
I also
nice.
like Yog Ramen for Battlegrounds. And then my number one is I think it's like the cake, what it's called, cake. But it is the very purple looking card back that has berries and like a chocolate
Yep,
slice.
yep. That
That
one's pretty
is
great.
my absolute favorite card back. I just think it is so gorgeous. It like everything is so well done on it. And again, it kind of has that like purple look, and there's just the berries look great. And that's my absolute favorite one.
Nice. Oh, honorable mention goes out to the Golden Celebration card back, which I would
Yes,
absolutely
of
have
course.
maybe as my only card back if I ever won that high level finish
Yes.
in esports events. It looks amazing. Just solid gold.
All right. Now it is time for the top two non-Hearthstone card games. Because I'm
All
sure we'd
right.
probably both list Hearthstone as like our number one. So
Yeah,
like what rounds out your top three there, Ron?
I only got two. I don't play a whole lot of other games besides Hearthstone lately, because I spend so much time playing Hearthstone. But for my top two, number two, I'm going with Magic the Gathering. It's been quite a while since I played it, but it was probably the main game that really attracted my interest in card games in general, for like that weren't poker, So wizard poker type card games, I guess you could call it. And Magic, it's the OG. It's been around for forever, and there's like a million different things to access from it. Great game.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely got to be up there. I thought for sure you would put like poker as number three.
Oh well, I mean, I figured we were. I guess I didn't understand the assignment. Poker's number one, and that's
Okay,
that's that's
okay.
the three.
Wow.
Then poker would be number one, Magic would be number three, and then I have a number two.
Move aside, Hearthstone.
I was thinking of like uh collectible card game type things rather
That's
than
fair.
like a
I
different
just
card
know you
game.
have such a history with poker that I was like, he's
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
list that, right?
yeah.
It's
Poker
fair.
is easily number one.
All right. Well, I think for me, this is kind of tough. But I definitely would have to list, Hearthstone is number one. I think for me, number two, would be I I want to say Magic. Like I'm gonna kind of cheat. I'm gonna kind of do four. I think for me, honestly, number two has to be Legends of Runeterra, because I think
Nice.
that when I've played that, like I really love so many things about it. I think the artwork is great, the animations, and just the everything. Like the champions are so animated. You get the little pop up like animation when they level up. But also, I think they just have such engaging solo content with especially like the Path of Champions. It's just amazing. Um, so I really like that one. And I think number three is really going to be two games because I'm cheating. I'm going to say Magic slash Pokemon, but that's also just because I grew up, like, those were the games that I started, like, that got me into card games essentially. And I have the Nine Tails tattoo with each, tail being a different color, and they're corresponding to like a symbol that's at the end of each tail. And some of those are the magic symbols, like, the original looking symbols. And then you have like a Pokeball, or well, it's a Master Ball. like a D20. But like those were just so integral in like my childhood and kind of getting into card games that I think I have to list them, even if I
Nice.
don't play them quite as much now.
Uh, by the way, I have been searching through the card collection for so long to try to figure out what the name of that Diablo card was that you're talking about. It's called
Yeah.
Secret Level.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
You
because it
got
was
it
like a
from a Dark
secret Cal
Wanderer
level.
Brawl in 2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That was a
yeah.
great brawl. So good.
Oh, and I forgot to mention my other one on the list for card games outside of Hearthstone goes to Marvel Snap. Because as frustrating as the collection is, the gameplay is very fun, very addicting, really cool game.
Heck yeah. That's a good one. Well, again, like thank you to Itachi kind of for the idea. And thanks for going through those with me, Ron. And I know I kind of threw the card game one and at you like right before we started, and then I threw the card back one at you like during the show.
It's like having a
You
lightning
rolled
round. It's
with it.
cool. We make our
We
guests do
did.
lightning rounds, so why not?
We did. I know. But when we talk about these things, there's always like something else that pops up that we think of that are like, oh yeah, this thing too. So we had to. But there's so many card backs. I was like, we have to talk about card backs.
Yeah, that's a good point. I loved actually just going through and searching through the collection, looking at some of the old card backs is a lot of fun. Now I'm gonna set some new favorites again and go down that rabbit hole
Yes.
for a little bit.
Exactly.
But that is our main topic for today. So that pretty much wraps up our show. Any other things that you wanted to address before we wrap it up, Don?
Yeah. I think I'm good.
Sweet. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this week. And if you or someone you know would be interested in joining us, please reach out to us. You can email us at tccgroundtable@protonmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, TCCG Roundtable. Use our top pinned tweet for a link to our Discord, or use the link in the description or show notes. Check out our video version of this podcast at youtube.com/dragonrider TCCG. You can find us everywhere you find audio podcasts, and also check out our Inked Gaming affiliate, which helps support us directly while also getting sweet merch like playmats and other card game accessories. You'll find the link, of course, in our description and show notes. You can find me individually on Twitter at Ron_HS. You can find me on YouTube at RonMexicoHS and on Twitch at RonMexicoHS. And Don, where can they find you?
Well, I guess mine aren't as consistent as yours. uh, but I have, you can find me on Twitter, DonnieDK. That's DAWNIEDK. And then Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, all of that, dragonrider TCCG. And of course, also in addition to this podcast, talking every week about standard Hearthstone over at the Doctor 3 Hearthstone podcast. Love that show, so definitely would love to build that community up. So if you want to talk about standard Hearthstone, would love to have you join in on that podcast as well.
Perfect. Well, that is our show. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you at the roundtable.